guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tina and let's talk about the Tarte Face Tape foundation. So this foundation has been driving me a little bit crazy. I've done several videos where I've mentioned it now. None of them are up because they're like just in this last couple weeks when I've been using it. This may go up before those other videos do. If you see me mentioning this again, this is why. I've been debating about this foundation since I got it. After the first day I got it and I wore it by itself, did a full day wear test. It was decent that day, like I didn't have any major complaints about it that day. Then I got looking at it closer. Like the day I did the full wear test, I think it was 1 o'clock in the morning when I took my makeup off. Even though I had done the full wear test, I didn't really get a great look at it. And one of the things that video allows you to do when you're editing is to go back and look at stuff that you thought you looked at before a little more closely. I had some issues with this, and I have some love of this. It's the craziest stuff. That's why I thought I had to come back and talk to you guys about it, because my first video was a first impressions, and in first impressions you never really get how you really feel about a product. You just don't. It takes time to like get to know it, you know, see how it does, if you and that are going to be friends or frenemies or what's going on there. And at first I thought me and this were not going to get along very well after like the second time I wore it, because I did not like the way it would settle into my pores horribly. Like this stuff, terrible. Unless you're using the right kind of primer. And in a video on Tarte products that to be up or up soon, I talk about this face base that you're supposed to use with it. I'll just put up a picture. I have a little sample size of it I'm digging around for and I can't find. That primer just is crap. I don't like it at all. I got using this. One day I was using it with this Wet n Wild Rose Primer Serum, which is a great serum, but it's very, very glowy. This, because it's not really matte, it really comes through on it. So it makes you look oily even when you're not. Well, a dewy complexion is fine. When you look shiny, it's just not good. And that primer from Wet n Wild is a great primer, but with this foundation, the two don't work well together for the overall look. So then I'm like using it with multiple primers, which when you're talking about a $30-some foundation, should you really have to go through every primer in your collection to be able to use it? In my opinion, no, that should not be the case. Then I was kind of annoyed with it. And those are the types of things I think about. It's like, if I'm paying that much money for a foundation, should I have to start and screw with it to get it to work right? And the answer to that is no. But what I love about this foundation is on film, and why you see so many beauty influencers hyping it is because this on film looks amazing. Like, oh my god, my skin looks so good on film. Like, I can make it look so good with like the lights and a few adjustments. It like reflects backward perfectly. It's gorgeous. So if you are doing photography or film, I think you will love this foundation. In everyday life, if you have mature skin, I think you're gonna hate this foundation. Especially with dry skin, because it likes to collect on those dry patches and accentuate them. Also, it doesn't lay down quite right, and it loves to get into fine lines and pores terribly. And I don't like that at all. Like, nobody wants that. So then I started combining it. The Tarte Shape Tape foundation is not a true match for me. And this, weirdly, is the only true match foundation I have ever found. This is an actual true neutral. So if you have neutral skin or like, oh my god, I need a neutral foundation and I can't find one, this one is very, very good. That's a great plus on its side and one of the reasons I really like it. But once again, it settles into those fine lines, pores, and everything else and makes you look older, and nobody wants that. So then I thought about just returning it. I used it with my Tarte Shape Tape foundation one day. I put this like around the edges of my face and this in the center because this is much more brightening than this one is. But the two together, magic happened. Then my foundation laid down perfectly and it looked great and it looks amazing and it looks good on film and it looks good in everyday life, which is what I want from my foundation. But in order to get that with this, I have to combine it with this, or I'm sure other foundations would work. This foundation drives me a little bit crazy because I do like the way it looks on camera so much. Like, oh my god, it's so good. But I can't recommend it to you guys to use in your everyday life because of the fact that it really does accentuate pores and fine lines, and it's very, very difficult to find a primer and to get it exactly perfect so that your face doesn't, you know, over the day make you look 10 years older than you are. And this does that. It's terrible. I don't like that. I'm keeping it, and I do love it when I combine it with another foundation. And I do like it when I'm using it on film. That is essentially where I'm at with it. I just wanted to let you guys know exactly what my thoughts on it are. I don't just live on, you know, in a YouTube box. I actually live my day-to-day life, and I wear makeup in it, and I like to look nice. And I don't want to be looking nice on camera and then wandering around outside and not looking so nice. That drives me crazy. I haven't noticed it being cakey on me. You can put way too much on. It does not take very much. It goes a long, long ways with just a little bit. One pump pretty much does it for me. If I use, especially if I'm using with the other foundation, I just put some of it on. That's probably like a half a pump, and then one pump of that, and I'm good. I also strongly recommend using it with a brush. I don't normally apply my foundations with a brush, but that foundation, because it does like to settle into pores and fine lines when you're using it with a beauty blender, especially a damp beauty blender, it really just gets in there worse when you do it that way. I'm gonna zoom in so hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. This foundation does tend to, on camera, blur out imperfections, which is great and why I like it on film. But in everyday life, again, you're not on film. You don't have those lights shining at you so that it reflects back. So you have a problem there. So I'm going to try to zoom you in so you can see what I'm talking about, because even with what I did today, I can see some of my pores around my nose peeking through. I think it's time to really delve into this foundation and get down to the real nitty-gritty of whether or not it's a good foundation for all of you just running around in your everyday life. Hopefully you can see what I'm talking about right here. If I'm using another foundation and stuff, you normally don't see those because that foundation does sink into pores. Even with a pore filling primer, it's still showing them. Now, I can pretty much blur them out, you know, I just have to be careful about my primer, but in my opinion, you should not have to do that to make your foundation look flawless. Seriously? Come on, you shouldn't have to. Would I recommend this to a friend? No, I would not. I would tell my friend that there are other foundations, even by Tarte, that are much better than that, and I either love Tarte foundation or I hate it. Like, I have no in between apparently. Because I love the Tarte Face Tape foundation. I love their powder foundation, their mineral foundation. It's like amazing. But I hate their Rainforest to the Sea foundation, and I do not like the face tape on its own. It's a love-hate thing for me, apparently. I hope this is helpful to you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!